is he?
Kentman!
He's not important!
Okay. Hello, gamers and collectors. It's your boy Kentman, bringing you that JRPG and fan service content you deserve. And I have been playing Venus Vacation Prism Dead or Alive Extreme for about 24 hours and some change, and I have a lot to say about the game. Some good, some bad, and this is kind of going to be like somewhat of first impressions. I haven't beaten the game, but so far overall, I love this game. I think I'm pretty addicted, and it's very hard to juggle this game while also still playing Yumiya, which is also a very big undertaking of a game, which I think I'm very close to beating, but with me exploring every facet of the game, it's very hard to just get through the game because I just love doing everything. Completionists and all, you know, that's just how I am. But with this game, it is actually a good shift between playing the JRPG to a more dating sim and a kind of visual novel, but it's 3D still, but it's like a visual novel in nuanced ways. But like, I really do enjoy this game. It's very fun, it's very addictive, especially the photography mode and the mini games, which I didn't think was going to be fun, but they are kind of addictive when you are in there and doing them, from the sit-ups to the hand sumo as they call it, but it's just, you know, cake that they're playing. But regardless of the fact, either one of the mini games are pretty fun, and I only made it up to the point where I met Tamaki, and I just got Fiona as well. I'm just about to meet Nanami, my love, my beauty, who's going to destroy the whole facet of my story because I'm going to be focusing on her. And I'm not going to take up too much of your time because I know you got a lot of things to do. I just want to kind of talk about some things about the good, the bad, and just what I was expecting. I guess we can start with the what I'm expecting first, because this game is set up differently how I was expecting this game to be, especially when it comes to the story. You know, with past Dead or Alive Extreme games, you would pick a character and then you just focus on that character and move through the story. And I thought it was going to be similar to that, but I was surprised that it is not like that. The moment you get into the game, it is set up like a story. Like, you go through the game, you talk to Misaki first, obviously as kind of a tutorial character, and once you learn the basics and the functions of it, you move into the next girl, which is Honoka. But it's an interactive story. Like, it's actively going, and you're not technically focusing on one girl, but you can, but it adds a little bit more challenge because they're there on the fly. So one moment you're talking to Misaki, and then the next you're talking to Honoka, but then Tamaki can come in and be like, oh God, I mean, do I focus on Tamaki or do I still pay attention to Honoka? It really like keeps you on your toes on who you're talking to and who you're trying to woo at the moment, especially if you have a girl that you like that's not in the story yet, which is Nanami for me. I haven't reached her yet, and that's like my ideal girl for this game right now, who I wanted to go after. She's not there, so you still gotta focus on the other girls to make them happy so you can get some good scores, so you can eventually get more outfits as you go through the game. And it's like a very big like chess game, because sometimes they will give you responses that seem right, and you're like, that seems okay, like that's a good response, but then it's not, and it's like, oh my God, I made a wrong move and I made her sad or something. Or they'll even trick you and be like, they'll ask you a question where you're like, oh, did you like the sky, or did you look at my video or something? And you say yes, but then Misaki will sideline you and be like, I don't think you did. And then Honoka's like, look at you like, oh, was that a lie? And it's like, that was the only option. Like, why would you give me the option if that wasn't the right option? Man, this game has been fun. I've been loving the challenge of figuring out what the right responses is and finding out what makes each girl happy. But at the same time, you could be like in a moment with a girl, but then Misaki is like, oh, I'm gonna go, you know, do some documents and stuff. Did you wanna come with me? And you're right there in the middle of like deciding, do I stay with Honoka or do I go with Misaki? Or do I go, or you're hanging out with Fiona And then Tamaki's like, hey, I see that you're hanging out with Fiona. Did you want to go, you know, walk somewhere? And you're like, I mean, I'm kind of in the middle of talking to Fiona, but I mean, I do want to kind of make some moments with Tamaki too, but it's a very fun, interactive story. But even with the story, there is some faults with it. My only nitpick with it mostly is just a me thing because I'm a content creator. I don't think other people will have this problem because you're just playing the game normally, is the auto scroll. Like when you're going through the game, there's no way for you to like pause and then next the conversation to when you're ready. So like it's very hard for me to like commentate on the game because the text is going by so fast on an auto scroll, and there's no way for you to turn that off, which is odd. Like I don't mind auto scrolling when like I'm just mindlessly playing the game, which I guess they would expect a lot of people to do, but it's just a weird feature that's not in the game, that you can next the conversation, of course, but you can't stop the auto scroll. It just kind of keeps going on its own. The only times you can pause and talk about something is when they ask you something and the prompts come on the screen, and that's when the screen kind of like stops for a moment and just kind of like lets you get a breather to absorb everything. But once you're in that game and that story, the conversations is flowing and it's just going. So you got to keep up with the conversations. I think the only other thing that I would love to have for this conversation, maybe it would add a little bit too much pressure, but I think it would be nice for when you have to make quick decisions on what girl to choose, it was a timed thing, because that's kind of how reality is, where, you know, say like if you're trying to make a decision and someone's asking you something in front of you, it's like this awkward pause where you're trying to think, but you know, life is still moving, so it would add a little bit of an extra little challenge. Maybe if it was an option that you could turn on, maybe it wasn't, if it wasn't built in the game, because I kind of do like the idea that I can think about it, like mellow in my thoughts, like do I want to go with Fiona, or do I want to stay with Tamaki? Do I want to hang out with Masaki? I don't know. Like it gives me some time to think about it, so I'm glad that they don't pressure you, but at the same time, it's like that added little like challenge, like, ooh, they really tested my patience and not giving me a lot of time to think about it. And then, you know, it's a fun little interactive. So like the story, the way they handle the story is really well, because it does take place within chapters. And once you talk to a character and go through the whole story, you can go back and look at what routes you didn't choose. And once you are trying to 100% the game, like I am, where I'm trying to platinum the game, it is a good way for you to go back and like get all the routes and make everyone happy, because that's eventually what you're going to do. But for the first initial playthrough, where you know you're just playing the game straight through, it's a fun way to just like go chapter by chapter, talk to each character, do all the tasks that you have to do with the photo mode, and just, you know, move on and just have a good time. Now, the cons about the game that I have is, even though this game is very beautiful and it's fun and it's enjoyable to play and see, the camera mode is really fun, that is the first issue I have. There's not a lot of options when it comes to the posing of the characters. Like when it comes to the camera mode, there's so many options. There's so many great ways to make your photos look. They give you some good lighting, so you can have like a 4-point setup for lighting, backlighting, front lighting, all that jazz. All that stuff is great. It's amazing, cool. But the problem I have is that you don't have a lot of control over the model. Say like if they're in a pose, right? You don't have a lot of option to say, hey, change up the pose, move this away, move this way, or look. I mean, you can tell the characters to look this way to like focus on you, but that's about all you can do. But if you're trying to get a variety of a pose, or, you know, try to get an expression, you don't really have a lot of control of that, at least right now. I mean, it could change later down the line, but it feels like if that was going to be a thing, they would have made it a feature already. And it feels weird when after a few moments, you're kind of like stuck in this pose, like they're stuck in this pose for a while and you kind of want a new pose, then, you know, you can't really tell them to change, which I guess that kind of makes sense because they're actively trying to do poses after a while. Like there will be like a moment where you set up a photo shoot and they'll do different poses afterwards. But I wish it was kind of like in the moment that you can change it, like just a little bit, you know, make a sad face, happy face, you know, all that kind of nuance, but you're not really able to do that. And the other feature that I have for the camera that's a kind of a hit or miss, the thing when you go through a chapter, you have 50 photos you can take, and that's the limit. Still can take photos, but it doesn't really do anything. And there's no way between the chapters to delete photos that you don't want. I wish there was an option where you're taking photos. When you go into the photo mode, you can look at the camera and be like, all right, let me see my photos. And you're like looking through your photos and you're like, I don't like this one anymore. I'm gonna delete that one. I guess that would take away from the challenge of like managing your photos, like, cause you know, you just can't take a lot of photos, but the whole idea of the game is to take photos. So why is there a limit on the photos? I don't know if you can increase it later. Maybe it might be a thing, but for right now, it's not. Every camera has an option to delete photos. It's a basic function. So that's like a small little nitpick that I have with it. I could just not take as many photos, but when they're doing something cute or sexy, how can I not capture it on film? That is where my other issue comes with the game, is the watermark that's on the photos for PlayStation. Watermark that's like right there in the middle of like the person's thigh or something's captured. It's way too dominant. So many people on Twitter who takes pictures of DOA girls and wants to just show them off of their pictures, and you can't really do that with the watermark there. Or there should be an option to turn it off. It doesn't really make a lot of sense. I hope it's a feature that gets removed eventually, or at least like it gets shrunken down a lot, because like it's really not needed, because we already know it's a Kyo Tecmo game. You go in the game buying it knowing it's a Kyo Tecmo game. This logo shows on the screen when you load into the game, so there's no way for you not to know it's a Kyo Tecmo game. Other big issue, two big issues I have with the game: there's no background characters, and I understand that most of the game is going to be focusing on the 6 girls that you're going to be dating, but it does make the world kind of feel dull and boring when there's no background characters. I don't even care if there were like silhouettes of background characters. It would have been nice to see the actual beach having fun. So it's weird when they say moments like, oh, this cafe is really nice. I hope it's really buzzing when a lot of people are there, but there's never a lot of people there. It's never a lot of people there. The other gameplay loop for this game could have been time management. I feels like you could have been able to build up a resort in your own image, like obviously within the game loose limits, but like say like if you start off with a raggedy old shack hotel or a beach hotel, as you go through the game and you level up with your girls, you bond with the girls, you get more customers into your hotel, you start to get more money, you get able to put stuff in certain places to, okay, I want to get better beds, I want to get better rooms, I want to get a better pool. I feels like that would have been a really cool feature for this game, where you actually feel like you're building up the hotel, because you are the manager of this brand new Venus island. So I want to feel like a manager. I want to feel like I'm actually doing more things besides just talking to girls and taking photos and doing exercises, which is all great, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I feels like that added little bonus of actually feeling like you're building up the hotel and getting customers in and seeing them in the background, even if they're silhouettes, would have been a cool feature. And I feels like it's kind of a missed opportunity for us to actually feel like we're building up an actual luxury resort. And it sucks, because I feels like they could have added that little bit of bonus in there and the game would have been even more perfect. Like, the game is not perfect, but the game is a lot of fun and I am enjoying the game, but that little added bonus would have been a really good like gameplay loop to add a little bit of nuances to the game as well. And one feature I feels like that could have worked for the game is volleyball. I've been saying this since the beginning. I think a lot of people's been saying this from the beginning. It's like, it's weird that they took out the main component that made the Dead or Alive Extreme games appealing, which is the volleyball. And the one thing that makes me more frustrated about it is that festivals within Venus Vacation stands for volleyball, especially with the gacha game. That's the main component of the gacha game. And maybe they wanted to move away from that component because they wanted to change it up a little bit. But the idea behind the festivals is watching the girls play volleyball. And it's weird that that feature that was in the mobile game, that's not in this new fully fleshed out 3D model game. It's so odd to me because they do talk about it at the beginning of the game where they're like, oh, they have the volleyball court set up and they show that it's going to be a volleyball match, and it's like they don't have it in the game. It's like, why? It just doesn't make any sense. And I understand maybe they just didn't want to, like, it was too much money to get the technology, but they already have the technology in the mobile game. Just take what you did there and ship it to the Prism game. I don't understand that. And even if it was too complicated for us to actually physically play as the characters to do volleyball, then let us just watch them play volleyball. I mean, I know that's not as fun, you know, but you still be able to see them play volleyball. I don't understand why they didn't think of that. Like, it would have been sexy just to watch them play volleyball, and you give them pointers and coaching, like, hey, just stand here, do this, add a little bit of, like, you know, aggression at this moment, and you will win. That's what you do for the mobile game. I know that's not the focus of the game, but it could have been a feature of the game. They already did it. I mean, again, it's not as fun. You know, you want to play a game within a game, but at least it would have been there, you know, that you can just somewhat play, you know? I don't know, but that's just me. Other than that, I think this game is fantastic. I think I am enjoying the game a lot. I haven't even gotten all the characters yet. Like I said, I still need to meet Nanami, which I'm about to meet. Then I have to meet Elise, who I haven't met yet. And then once we have all the characters, I'm sure the game is going to be even more complicated when it comes to, like, making everyone happy. Because I like the way the story is handled. I like that it's not what I thought it was going to be, where you select one character and you just run off the cuff with that character until you beat it. It actually makes it a little bit of a challenge that if you want that girl that you want to be with, you gotta earn that love while you're handling every other girl at the same time. You can either try to please everybody in the game, or you eventually end up pleasing nobody. They're gonna make you choose and fight for your favorite waifu, and I kind of like the idea that they do make you fight for it, because they do make you some hard choices. Unless you don't care about all the characters and then you're just like, I just want the one girl, so fuck you, then that's good for you. But for me, I kind of like all the characters. I like their charismatic charm. I like that they have all these different personalities. I like that they actually, like, kind of, you know, flirt with you. You feel like you're flirting with them. It's actually a very immersive or interactive dating game, as they were trying to make. I'm really enjoying it so far. And those are just some of my first thoughts and impressions on the game as of right now. Will my ideas change by the end? I guess we're gonna find out once I still play. But if you want to see my full playthrough of me playing the game, you can check it out on my second channel. I did post the first video already, and it's doing pretty good over on there, so I appreciate that. And I'll be posting my second video later on today, so if you want to check that out, I'll let you guys know through a community post. And let me know how you guys feel about the game. Have you got the game? Have you been playing the game? I know some people have been saying that they are waiting for it to arrive, and when you do get it, I hope you enjoy it as much as I am, and even more, because you know, that's the idea. But, you know, let me know how you guys feel about the game down in the comments down below. What is your thoughts and feels about the game for people who have been playing it, or from the things that I've been saying? Let me know what you guys think. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I'm trying to hit 10K by the end of the year, and with your help and support, I can definitely do that. And with that being said, I will see you in the next video next time. There's a lot of things to do for a tele, Dead or Alive, and so much more. So my time is very chaotic right now. So I'll see you guys next time. Bye.